Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to talk about the match between Real Madrid and FC Barcelona. There is a few talking points that I do want to talk about within this game. Barcelona did lose against Real Madrid 2-1. Now, first things first, I do think that this was a very strange game for Barcelona, and we continue to have these type of strange games when it comes to this Ronald Koeman's Barcelona, because it always does seem like Barcelona do end up being the better team against the opposition, but we always ended up either tying or losing against these big opposition teams. Like, yes, it is true. There are many times where Ronald Koeman's Barcelona actually play very well. We dominate the opposition, but we do not get the results that we do want. And let's talk specifically about this game here between Barcelona and Real Madrid, where Barcelona did lose 2-1. There was a lot of controversy coming out away from this game, and I have seen what has been going on and what has been talked about the most in the loss that Ronald Koeman had to take. For example, in those last 10 minutes, we did see Martin Braithwaite get taken down from Mendy, and the ref did not even consider on looking to see if this was a penalty, yes or no. There's also another example where the ref was wasting a lot of minutes of this game because he simply had to readjust some of the wires that he was carrying on his body. It was some technical issues, but the ref needed someone to go on and help him and readjust the wires that he did carry with him. And it did take about a total of 4 to 5 minutes, and so a lot of minutes were being wasted because of what the ref had to do. And at this time, Barcelona were losing. And then there were other moments where the ref was in the way of Barcelona trying to attack. For example, the ref was right in front of Sergio Busquets when Sergio Busquets was trying to look to one of his teammates to pass the ball to. So there were plenty of controversies. There was just so many things that did go on in this game that did not seem right in the eyes of Barcelona. But we're not here to talk about that. Yes, I am very aware that some calls and some decisions looked very suspicious, but I am always going to be right, and you guys know exactly what type of reporter I am in this channel. I am always going to stand by one thing, and that is that if a team is great enough and dominating enough against the opposition, you will always find a way to win in the end, regardless if some ref does make some ridiculous calls. That is the type of team I want Barcelona to be, is to be a team that no matter what the ref does call, no matter what the opposition does do, whether it's a dirty foul or wasting time, Barcelona must be dominating enough and good enough where there is no external factors that can harm our great result. So what I am going to be doing here is talk about 3 key important talking points that has not been talked about enough within this Clasico. And starting with point number 1, and I want to talk about Antoine Griezmann. So in the previous video, I was talking about how Antoine Griezmann came into this game and made Barcelona play when attacking forward much more fluid. Because within this game, when Barcelona was playing against Real Madrid, Barcelona really needed a player that can build with other players. Because what Barcelona were trying to do when it came with Messi or Dembele or Pedri or Frenkie de Jong, there were many disconnected passes. Every time they tried to build up play and attack Real Madrid, it did not end up happening. And a player like Antoine Griezmann would have been very perfect within this scenario. And once Griezmann did step onto the pitch in the second half, the way that he did strengthen and gel the players together when it came to the build-up play, he did very well at that. When it came to tracking back and trying to defend against Real Madrid and regaining the possession and going back into the attack, Griezmann also did very well at doing that. But here's the one thing that I do want to make very clear. Even though, yes, I have praised Antoine Griezmann and how well he has performed against Real Madrid, at the end of the day, Barcelona still had one problem remaining, and that was that we needed a goal scorer inside that box. We needed an option B for Barcelona to come out with a potential tie or a win. Bringing in Griezmann did not do that. Griezmann is very well at building up play, but when it comes to that final touch, the cherry on top, Griezmann is not that player. And let's compare, right? Let's compare Antoine Griezmann, who did play for a total of 50 minutes, and Martin Braithwaite, who did play for a total of 11 minutes. Looking at the amount of touches Antoine Griezmann has displayed within the box, Griezmann only touched the ball within the box a total of 2 times, and that is within 50 minutes. And then if we compare that to Martin Braithwaite, who has only played 11 minutes, he has touched the ball 1 time, 50% of what Antoine Griezmann has done. And Martin Braithwaite was a player that only played a total of 11 minutes. So while yes, Antoine Griezmann made Barcelona much more fluid in the attack, the way that Barcelona should be playing was not 100%, and that is the reason why Barcelona did come out with a 2-1 loss against Real Madrid. Now let's move on to the next key point, and I do want to talk about Ronald Koeman. Now this is going to be a very interesting one, right? Because I want to talk about Koeman's form in big games, because there has been this narrative, and we can also call it factual evidence, because many of these numbers that I am going to be showing you guys, it is true. But if we look at Barcelona's form in big games, we can see that Barcelona has lost against Atletico Madrid 1-0. Barcelona has lost against Real Madrid 3-1. Barcelona has lost against Juventus 3-0. Then in the Super Cup final, Barcelona has also lost 3-2. Barcelona lost against PSG 4-1, and now Barcelona have lost against Real Madrid about 24 hours ago. That did end up in a 2-1 loss for Ronald Koeman. Now Barcelona and Ronald Koeman has also experienced some big game wins. Like for example, Barcelona have beaten Juventus 2-0, tied against PSG 1-1, and then beaten Sevilla in a 3-0 win that made Barcelona go into the final. But for the majority of the big games, Barcelona have experienced some losses, and we have seen Ronald Koeman being very consistent when it comes to Barcelona finally trying to show up in big games. They have not been able to do that for the majority of this season. Now there could be some arguments being made when it comes to Koeman not bringing the big results in these big games. Like for example, Koeman did not have the right resources from the beginning of the season. Barcelona also had no number 9, which is the reason why Barcelona could not attack and bring the goals necessary in order to change the final result of many of these games. Ronald Koeman was also trying to figure out the formation that Barcelona should be playing, and also what are going to be the position of these players. So for example, Dembele, Coutinho, Frenkie de Jong, Antoine Griezmann, many of these players had to be readjusted and repositioned by Ronald Koeman. Many of these losses coming from Koeman came from the beginning stages within this season. But here's going to be the thing that really does worry me about these stats, and I have been trying to look at the bigger picture on what's actually going on here. So in the past 6 to 7 games, we have seen Barcelona and Koeman play their best football yet. You and me can agree that ever since Ronald Koeman and Barcelona have been executing the 3-5-2 formation, or maybe the 5-3-2 or the 3-4-2-1, Barcelona have been in solid form. We looked very dominant on the ball, and then we started to see a set team starting to be displayed within the starting 11. The players that were being selected within the starting 11 was starting to be very consistent, and we were in a moment where we were saying, finally, right? Finally, Koeman has finally nailed the formation and the starting 11 that we should be playing day in and day out, because this was a situation that we did not have in many of these losses that Barcelona has experienced earlier in this season. But this is the reason why I do say that this is what makes me very nervous about the whole thing. Seeing how Barcelona have played very well in the past 6 to 7 games, many of these wins and dominating displays did come from playing against Huesca, Getafe, many of these lower division clubs within La Liga. But once we did face Real Madrid, which was about 24 hours ago, Ronald Koeman came in with the exact same idea, which was the 3-5-2 formation. And what staggered me the most about what did happen in this game, out of all of the things that we did see, from the controversial calls to the goals to all of these things that were going on within El Clasico, the one thing that really stood out was the fact that Ronald Koeman actually went back to what he used to do a couple of months ago, and that was to change the formation about 3 to 4 times within a span of 90 minutes. And the only reason why Ronald Koeman came in with that situation and that idea to change the formation every 30 to 40 minutes, it was because many of the plans that Koeman thought was going to work did not work. He was simply repeating what he was doing before the 3-5-2 formation did even start or exist within Ronald Koeman's FC Barcelona. And that highly worries me, because does this tell me, and does this tell the world, that Ronald Koeman breaks under pressure? Because if you cannot stick to an idea, a formation, when you are in these big games, then that means that yes, you could win against lower division teams and look very dominant, but when it comes to the big level teams and when you are in these big stages, you do crack under pressure, and you're going to want to continue to readjust your plans and readjust the position of many of these players. And when you do that, you do not end up getting the results that you do want. That is the reason why we did lose against Real Madrid, and that is the reason why we have experienced so many losses earlier this season. And within this game against Real Madrid, Koeman has used a total of 3 different formations. That was the 3-5-2, the 4-3-3, and the 4-2-3-1. And many of the substitutions that were being made from Koeman was very strange. We saw Griezmann coming in for Serginho Dest, and then having Frenkie de Jong play as a center back. Then we saw Sergio Roberto coming in for Sergio Busquets. And while many of these substitutions may seem a little normal, I do believe that the main problem was that it just seemed way too inconsistent to see something new in every game and in every minute. And I do think that if you continue to go with that idea to change your formation within a span of 90 minutes to make these abnormal substitutions throughout the games, you're going to continue to lose in big games because you cannot continue to stick with your same idea. And so hopefully going further into this season, we can start seeing more consistency, and especially in these big games, and not crack under pressure. And then lastly, I do want to talk about the last key point, and it is going to be about Mingueza. So Mingueza did score up against Real Madrid. It was a very beautiful moment for all of the Barcelona fans to see a academy player score for Barcelona up against Real Madrid. And I want to talk about the importance of this goal because yes, did Mingueza score for Barcelona where they could have potentially end up with a tie against Real Madrid? Yes, he did score that goal, but I do think that the main reason why this goal was so important, it was because of how he did score this goal. And what lesson does this teach us? Because if you look back at how this goal was scored, you can see that Messi passed the ball towards Jordi Alba sending that cross into the box, looking like it was going to go to Antoine Griezmann, and Mingueza scored the goal. And what's so special about that is that I feel like Mingueza really understood where the ball was going to go and who that ball was going to go to inside the box. Because let me tell you, if Mingueza actually expected that Griezmann was going to touch that ball and take that shot into the net, do you really believe that Mingueza and his instincts would be fast enough in order to shoot the ball into the net? I don't think so. I do believe that Mingueza actually knew exactly what was going to go on, and he knew that he had to be ready to take that shot once that ball were to go under Antoine Griezmann. And if you're asking, how did Mingueza know that? It is because he understands how Barcelona should be playing. And the only reason why Mingueza knows how Barcelona is playing is because he was born and nurtured through the academy. This goal that Barcelona did score against Real Madrid, it was a Barcelona goal. It was an academy goal, a systematic way of playing. And this is the reason why it is just so important to promote these players away from Barcelona B and coming into the first team, is because these players know how Barcelona should be playing. And that is why it gets you results such as these. And I'm happy to see that Mingueza has stepped up yet again to score for Barcelona. And this is considered as the second goal Mingueza has scored for Barcelona within La Liga. And I do not think that it is a coincidence to see that Mingueza is following the footsteps of what Gerard Piqué and Puyol used to do in these Clásicos. Piqué and Puyol have scored a fair amount of goals against Real Madrid, and Mingueza is doing the exact same thing. So if we were to get asked, should Mingueza see a contract extension for Barcelona in this coming summer? Yes, he should. I do believe that Barcelona should extend the contract of this bright center back, and I do think that Barcelona as a club, the sporting directors, the coaches, the staff need to start planning. How are we going to be using Mingueza moving forward? What are going to be the plans? Is he going to be a starter within the starting 11 next season? Is he going to continue to act as a second option for Barcelona within the defensive line? And with the emergence of Mingueza, should Barcelona continue to look for other center backs out there in Europe? So a bright future is going to be coming ahead for Mingueza, and I'm happy to see that yet again another academy player is finally being considered to stay within the starting 11 and play a huge important role. But that's going to be it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.